Hello everyone, good evening. Wow, how has another week gone by? It's crazy. It feels like only yesterday I was recording episode 5 and here we are now at episode 6. Or was this episode 5? This is episode 5. Last week I was recording episode 4. Right, let me get things straight. So welcome to tonight's episode of Chapter and Verse, which is your weekly YouTube show, all things English for the increasingly curious mind. So if you like English or you'd like to like English, then this is definitely a good place for you to start. So it's been a busy week. Lots has been going on, and lots of you have been taking part in my courses, which is fantastic. It's been really nice to speak to you and see your faces rather than just looking straight through this webcam in my lounge, which is I'm getting used to, but it's lovely to see your actual faces in the courses. So let's start with some shout outs. Mummy English has been very busy today collecting in all of your shout outs from the live chat. So hello to Layla, who is excited, and her hamster Percy are joining in the lesson today. I know why Layla's extra excited today. She is actually our book reviewer this week. Hello to Adeline, who is 6, who's watching with her mummy. Hello to Freddie from Wellingborough. Hello to Ruben in Gloucestershire. Hello to Amelia Knight, who is 8. Nice to see you, Amelia. Well, nice for you to see Chapter and Verse. Nice to hear from you. Hello to Felicity from Suffolk. And hello to Sophie, who is 11 in Amersham, who says that I'm ace. Oh, that's really nice, Sophie. Thank you very much. Okay, so I like to start every week with my Word Lovers Word of the Week. So it's a new word that you may have heard before, but you might not be entirely sure what it means. So we're just going to add another word to our personal word bank. So this week, if I can find my piece of paper, our word of the week is idolatry. So you can practice saying that out loud. I can't hear you, so neither can anyone else. So you can say it wrong as many times as you like. Idolatry. Here we go. So idolatry is a noun. It's an abstract noun. So if you're not familiar with what abstract nouns are, don't worry too much. You can look them up. But it just means a thing that you can't necessarily see or touch or hold. It's just something that sort of is there, exists. That's not a very good explanation. I wasn't expecting to explain abstract noun. But idolatry is a noun. It's an abstract noun. And I've broken it down into 4 syllables for you. So a syllable is like a beat within a word, and idolatry has 4. So idolatry, if you're wanting to have a little practice saying it. And it means extreme admiration, love, or reverence for something or someone. Reverence just means respect, if you weren't sure what that meant. And an example for you: we must not allow our idolatry of pop stars to prevent us from listening to a range of different music. Okay, so there's my example of using the word idolatry, but I'd love for you to have a quick go. Okay, so as always, you can jot these down, pop them into the live chat, say it out loud, discuss it with whoever you're watching with, but see if you can use idolatry in a sentence, and maybe I'll read some of them out from the live chat in 1 minute's time. Play. Good luck. idolatry for Harry Potter and chapter and verse. Lovely, thank you very much, Asha. Layla, I have extreme idolatry for Holly. Bless you. Lots of you having extreme idolatry for English. That is so lovely to hear. Pause. Fab. Okay. Well done to all of you that had a go at doing that. And remember, these are all things that you can practice after the show. So there's no obligation to be really trying to squeeze it into 1 minute now. You can do it afterwards. So we're going to move on. So every week I cover what's out there. So something that is out there that might be of interest to you. Now, usually, or I shouldn't say usually because we started this in lockdown, but in the future I would like to tell you about different literary festivals and book signings and things like that that might be of interest to you all across the UK and possibly even the world. But that's not quite as possible at the moment. Lots of things have moved online. So this week I'm going to share with you another thing that's online that you might enjoy. So I'd like to tell you about the Everywhere Book Fest. So it's a fantastic online kidlit, so it's like children's books, book festival, and it actually took place in May. However, all of the videos and all of the competitions and games and all sorts that were available and in May during the festival, they are all still available on their website. And I had a look and there's some fantastic things on there. There's a reading from Jacqueline Wilson. There's also a Magic versus Science Battle of Children's Authors, which looks absolutely great. I'm going to watch that directly after chapter and verse this evening. And all of it can be accessed through their website. So I have included that on the chapter and verse summary page, which I will post on the Facebook group after the show this evening. But if you're wanting to look it up, it's just called the Everywhere Book Fest, and you can just type that into Google and you'll really easily be able to find their website. Okay, well, I think it's probably time now to move on to my Spag Swag bag. So the bag every week that has something in it that's to do with spelling, punctuation and grammar, something that's interesting, cool, or something that we probably need to practice and make sure we're not making any silly mistakes. So let's see what I've got in the Spag Swag bag this week. The ellipsis. So I did touch on the ellipsis during one of my lockdown lessons, one of the English live lessons. But let's have another little chat about it now and see if we can refresh our memories on how to use it to improve the technical accuracy and quality of our writing. So the ellipsis. There it is, ... That's tiny little ... I hope you can see that. So it has two major purposes, or purpose, I should probably look that up, to create a suspenseful pause, ... or to tell the reader that you have removed part of a text. So that's really useful if you're copying quotes from something. So particularly when you move into your GCSE years, or if you're doing exams or literature exams, if you've got a big quote, but you just need the first part and the last part, or you just need part of it, you can use ... the ellipsis, to show that you have removed part of the quote because you don't need it in your writing, and it can just help keep your work nice and succinct. So I've got a little challenge for you. Okay, well, I've got two challenges. I want you to have a go at using an ellipsis. You can either write a suspenseful sentence with a ... on the end to give us that suspenseful pause, or you can try and reduce this direct quote from me to the most succinct version you possibly can. So the most neat, short and relevant information only version of this. So you can cut out loads of stuff in the middle and keep the bit at the beginning and the bit at the end that you think is most important and just put a ... in the middle. Okay, I'm going to give you about a minute to do this. Good luck. Play.
You can't wait on their approval. You can't wait on their support. Sometimes you just got to run and look behind you and say, everybody who wants to run, run. But I can't stop running because you're not running. Listen to me, hear me. You can't stop chasing your dream just because somebody in your life will chase it with you. You can't stop believing in yourself just because somebody in your life won't believe in you. You can't stop chasing the dreams of your life just because when you know when you do it, you're going to have to do it all by yourself.
Oh, Marta says, I'm looking for someone to share in an ... adventure. I like that. She opened the door ... and there laid a monster. Okay, Layla's put, this will be the last weekly spellathon for Key Stage 1 to 4... but rest assured there will be more. Pause. Okay, well done to all of you that had a go at that. I hope I gave you a minute. It doesn't feel like a minute passed. But I did it earlier, so we've got a little example for you to compare against your own. I shortened it down to, this will be the last weekly spellathon, ... Good luck for this Friday. Okay, I took out all of the stuff in the middle and just kept the most simple, basic parts at either end of my rather long quote. And whilst we're on the topic, yes, it is the final weekly spellathon on Friday. So I will be posting the spellings for that later this evening. Have a little practice if you like to practice them, or you can just show up on Friday and have a go. And why not challenge someone? Why not contact your cousins or your friends or your aunts and uncles, your grandparents, and say, let's all meet on YouTube on Friday and see who can be the ultimate spelling champion amongst our group. And the great thing is, because it's got the 4 different key stages, you can challenge someone who's in a different key stage to you, and you can just compare how many marks you each got in your own particular key stage. Right, so time to move on. Right, let's do the of the weeks, because I'm feeling like I need to do some party poppers. Okay. Right, just realised I didn't put the ellipsis into my brain. When you learn things, it is important to store them in your brain. So in it goes, along with, while we're at it, let's put our word of the week in there at the same time. So idolatry, I'm going to pop you in the brain. That brain is now getting absolutely full with loads of fantastic English things. I should write a book with all of those things. Anyway, I digress. So let's move on to our of the weeks. So our teacher of the week this week is Mr. Billington from Olney Middle School in Bedfordshire. So Mr. Billington, a huge congratulations to you. You have been nominated by James, and James said that you've done lots of fun science videos like pickling eggs and melting chocolate, and voiceovers for books that they're reading, and you deserve to be teacher of the week for doing all of these fun, exciting things to keep everybody engaged with their learning. So a huge thank you and congratulations to you, Mr. Billington. Woo! That was fun. And a round of applause to you. So James, if you could get your adult, or Mr. Billington, if you could contact me, Holly at englishwithholly.org, and I will arrange for your certificate to be emailed over. So we're going to move on now to School of the Week. School of the Week goes to Greenleys Lower School in Bedfordshire, UK, who are a lovely school that look after all of their learners and have had them in and out of school as best they can. And their year 5s are moving on to middle school very soon, and they all want to say thank you very much for everything that you've done for them. So congratulations, Greenleys Lower School. Woo! And if anybody from Greenleys Lower School would like to, there is a number of nominations, but if you'd like to get in touch, I will make sure you get the certificate to pass on to the school. So there we have it. There are our of the weeks. So what do we have next? Let's see. Okay, let's move on to Writer's Corner. So every week I will bring you a little tip, a little hint, or a little technique that you can use in your writing to improve it, to make it more interesting or more technically accurate. And it will vary from week to week, whether it's something technical or something that will just make it interesting. But this week we are going to talk about the dreaded, I don't know why people dread them, they're so simple to use, fronted adverbials. Here we go. So I will bring this closer in just a moment, and you'll have to forgive me that the printer, the ink is running out again. So, oh, I'm going to sneeze from those party poppers. Excuse me. So, Writer's Corner, fronted adverbials. So, a fronted adverbial is a dependent clause. So, a dependent clause is a part of a sentence that needs another part for it to make sense. It can't make sense by itself. So, it's a dependent clause that's at the front, fronted, at the front of a sentence that gives us a little bit more information about the independent clause or the main clause that follows it. So I've got a little example here for you. In brackets, it says fronted adverbial because I'm going to ask you to come up with some. Comma, chapter and verse went live to learners across the world. So you could put a fronted adverbial on this sentence to give some extra information about it. So the extra information, the fronted adverbial, can give us information about the time, okay, the time in which something takes place, not necessarily 6 o'clock, but in any terms of time, the frequency, so how often something occurs, the place, so where, the manner, so in which way, and degree, to how much. Okay, so have a little think about that. See if you can come up with any fronted adverbials that you think would fit at the start of this sentence. I'm going to give you just 1 minute to have a quick go at that. And I'll read some of them out from the live chat. But remember, you can just shout them out at the screen, jot them down on paper, chat about it at home. It's entirely up to you. And all of these challenges, if you do have some particularly good ideas, you can get your adult just to post them on the Chapter and Verse Facebook group. Be lovely to see your work. Okay? Play. Thank you, Jay. Finally, Chapter and Verse went live to learners across the world at 7:15. Yes, that takes me back to episode 1. Thank you for that. So someone asked, does it have to be at the start? Well, if it's a fronted adverbial, then yes, it does need to be at the start. So we've got at 6:30, Holly records chapter and verse. So great use of a fronted adverbial there, just adapted the sentence, that's fine. Hi Amelia, that's a really good one. At last, chapter and verse went live to learners across the world. Pause. Okay, lovely work. Well done. Loads of great ideas coming through on the live chat, and I'm sure you've got lots of lovely ideas at home if you're writing down your ideas. So that is a fronted adverbial, and I'm going to fold this up and pop it into my frame. Okay, right. So one thing left. So I expect Layla is hugely excited right now. But Layla has reviewed a book for us this week. And she's been mentioning this book for a few weeks in the comments. So I thought it was only fair that we got to find out a little bit more about the book. So last week we had The Boy at the Back of the Class, which Lachlan did a fabulous review for. And he did record a lovely review. And I am still trying to upload it onto Facebook at the moment. But if you haven't read that book, then go back to episode 4 last week and listen out for his review and consider getting hold of the book and reading it, because it sounds absolutely fantastic. But this week we have The Mum Minder by Jacqueline Wilson. So I'm going to pop that up here. And I'm going to read you a little bit about what Layla has said. So Layla says, read this book, The Mum Minder by Jacqueline Wilson. So, come into the world of toddlers and babies. Yes, you got it. They're cheeky, they're naughty, they're greedy, they're curious about the world around them. One day, the childminder gets ill. However, she has a daughter that helps her out sometimes. But she gets ill and needs to stay in bed. She has a handful of toddlers on her hands, so what is she going to do? They need to be out every day, and Sadie is only 9 years old. Surely she can't go out by herself, can she? So that's just part of Layla's review. So please do pop over to the Facebook group later this evening and have a watch of Layla reading her review. And you should read this book. Thank you very much, Layla. And Layla, I'll make sure you get your certificate ASAP too. So, unfortunately, that brings us to the end of Chapter and Verse, the end of episode 5. How are we on week 5 already? It's flown by. If you are new to Chapter and Verse, you can join the Chapter and Verse Facebook group where you can get your adult to, and you can download a show summary for every single episode. And on that, it has everything that I've mentioned and a few little tasks if you wanted to practice anything I've spoken about in this show, and a couple of links and just nice, useful stuff relating to everything that I talk about in the show. Right. Well, that brings me to the end, the very end. Play. Let's have some music. We have a last little boogie. So come and join me on Friday for the final Spellathon. And of course, I'll be back on Monday with Chapter and Verse, and the Monday after that, and the Monday after that, and every single Monday at 6:30 on YouTube. I've really enjoyed this evening. Thank you very much for having me, and have a lovely weekend. Bye.